For 5,000 years, Egypt kept its secrets. And for 5,000 years, science looked away. What if the greatest civilization in history was hiding something so impossible that admitting it would destroy everything we think we know? What if ancient Egyptians understood electricity? What if the Sphinx was older than history itself? What if hidden beneath Egypt there are objects modern engineers still cannot recreate? And what if the pyramids were never tombs at all? These are not myths, not internet stories, not fantasy. These are real discoveries, real structures, real artifacts, studied by real scientists, and some of them have never been officially explained. Secret number 3 is so controversial, many researchers believe science wishes it never existed. Egypt is the most studied civilization on Earth. Thousands of archaeologists have spent their lives studying it. Millions of tourists walk through its ruins every year. And yet, the deeper researchers investigate Egypt, the stranger it becomes. Because some Egyptian structures show impossible precision. Some carvings look technologically advanced, and some underground discoveries completely break the laws of logic. Official history says the Egyptians used copper tools, ropes, wooden sleds, and manpower. Simple tools, primitive engineering. But here's the problem. Some Egyptian objects could not easily be recreated, even today. And when questions become dangerous, testing suddenly stops. Excavations are restricted. Permissions disappear. Science had no answer, so they stopped asking the question. And it all begins with the greatest structure humanity ever built. Secret 1. The structure that should not exist. The Great Pyramid of Giza is not just a building. It is a mathematical anomaly, a physical impossibility, a machine hidden inside stone. Built around 2560 BC, officially. Constructed using approximately 2.3 million stone blocks, some weighing 2.5 tons, others reaching 50, 60, even 80 tons. Imagine moving a modern military tank without cranes, without steel, without engines. Now imagine doing it millions of times. And yet somehow, the Egyptians achieved something impossible. The pyramid is aligned to true north with 0.05 degree accuracy, more accurate than the Paris Observatory built in 1671. Think carefully about that. A structure built thousands of years ago is more precisely aligned than a modern scientific observatory. How? And then researchers discovered another mystery. The base of the pyramid is almost perfectly level. The error difference is measured in millimeters, across 13 acres of stone. Even modern construction companies struggle to achieve that precision. But here is where it gets disturbing. The pyramid's internal temperature stays around 68 degrees Fahrenheit, no matter the weather outside. Burning desert heat outside, stable climate inside. Like the structure was engineered with environmental control. And then researchers noticed something else. The pyramid contains strange acoustic properties. Certain chambers resonate at specific frequencies. Some scientists believe the structure behaves almost like a giant resonating device. Not just a tomb, something more advanced, something intentional. And then comes the biggest mystery of all. The granite blocks inside the king's chamber show signs of machining precision. Straight cuts, smooth surfaces, angles difficult to achieve even with modern power tools. Yet official history claims they used copper chisels. Copper against granite, one of the hardest stones on Earth. Modern engineers examined the pyramid, and many quietly admitted something disturbing. We do not fully understand how it was built. Not completely, not honestly. So the question becomes unavoidable. Who taught the Egyptians mathematics this advanced, astronomy this accurate, engineering this precise? Because this does not look like the beginning of civilization. It looks like the remains of a civilization already advanced. But the pyramid is not Egypt's strangest secret, because inside another temple there are carvings that should terrify historians. Secret 2. Light before Edison. Inside the Temple of Hathor at Dendera, there are carvings that Egyptologists rarely discuss publicly because they look impossible. Carved into the stone walls are giant bulb-shaped objects, long glass-like chambers, cable-shaped bases, and inside, what appears to be a filament. The resemblance to modern electrical bulbs is disturbing. Most historians dismiss it immediately. They call it symbolic art, religious imagery. But then, electrical engineer Walter Garn studied the carvings, and his conclusion shocked researchers. These are functioning lamps. Now maybe that sounds ridiculous, until you ask one question. How did Egyptian artists work underground? Deep inside sealed tombs, miles from sunlight, in complete darkness. And yet, there are almost no soot marks, no smoke stains, no blackened ceilings, nothing. If thousands of workers used torches underground, the ceiling should be covered in smoke residue. But they are not. Researchers tested mirror systems. The theory failed. The reflected light would never be bright enough. So how did they illuminate the chambers? And why do their carvings resemble electrical devices? Some researchers believe the Egyptians may have understood primitive electricity. Others think they inherited forgotten technology from an older civilization. And then there is one more disturbing detail. Some Dendera carvings show serpent-like energy forms inside the bulb structures, almost like electrical current. Coincidence? Maybe, but Egypt is full of coincidences that stop feeling accidental. Because the next mystery completely destroys the official timeline itself. Secret 3. The monument older than civilization. The Sphinx should not even exist, at least not if the official story is true. According to history, the Sphinx was built around 2500 BC, during the reign of Pharaoh Khafre. Clean answer, simple timeline, case closed. Until geologist Robert Schoch pulled up in Egypt. And he was not there to repeat the textbook version. He was not studying legends. He was studying erosion. And what he found was a nightmare for Egyptology. The erosion patterns on the Sphinx were caused by water. Not desert wind, not blowing sand. Water. Heavy rainfall, deep vertical channels, the kind you get from long periods of rain. But here's the problem. Egypt has been mostly desert for over 7,000 years. So if the Sphinx has that much rain erosion, then it has to be older. Way older. Older than official history allows. Possibly 10,000 to 12,000 years old. And that changes everything. Because back then, civilization was not supposed to exist. No Egypt, no cities, no advanced engineering, just small groups of hunter-gatherers trying to survive. And yet, there stands the Sphinx, already ancient, already weathered, already staring across the desert like it knows something we do not. And this is where it gets dangerous. Further testing became restricted. Permissions became harder to get. Some researchers claim Egyptian authorities pushed back against deeper investigation. Why? Because if the Sphinx is really that old, then the whole timeline falls apart, completely. It would mean an advanced civilization existed before recorded history. And if the Egyptians did not build the Sphinx, then who did? But the next discovery is even harder to explain, because it should not physically exist at all. Secret 4. The impossible granite. Deep beneath Saqqara, hidden underground, there is one of the strangest places on Earth, the Serapeum, a massive underground tunnel system, cold, silent, tight, almost suffocating. And inside sit 24 giant granite boxes. Each one weighs around 100 tons, solid granite. But here's the crazy part. The weight is not even the real mystery. The precision is. These boxes are cut almost perfectly. Perfectly flat surfaces, perfectly square corners, no clear tool marks, no obvious mistakes. Some researchers say the tolerances are close to modern machine precision. 1/10,000th of an inch on granite, underground, thousands of years ago. And that's where this gets wild. Modern workshops still struggle to machine granite that cleanly. But somehow, ancient Egyptians supposedly did it underground, with copper tools. That explanation just does not add up. But here's where it gets even more impossible. The tunnel entrance is only about 6 feet wide. The boxes are around 13 feet tall, so they do not fit through the entrance, not even close. So how did they get inside? There are only two possibilities. Either the boxes were placed there before the tunnels were finished, or the official story is wrong, again. And then researchers found something even stranger. The boxes were empty. No mummies, no inscriptions, no treasure, no explanation, nothing. Science had no answer, so they stopped asking the question. Who made them? Why were they created? And what technology cut solid granite with impossible precision? But Egypt's final secret may be the strangest one yet, because it suggests the Egyptians may have understood time itself. Secret 5. They were counting down. Ancient Egyptians were obsessed with the stars, but one star stood above the rest: Sirius, the brightest star in Earth's night sky. Their calendar system was built around it, the Sothic cycle. And at first, that sounds harmless, just astronomy, just timekeeping. But then researchers realized something. This thing was way too accurate. The cycle tracks movements in the sky across massive spans of time. Not years, not centuries, thousands of years. Even 26,000 years celestial cycles. And the precision is hard to ignore. Modern astronomers checked it, and the math works. But here's the part that gets really creepy. The calendar's starting point goes back to around 11,542 BC. Think about that. That is long before official civilization, long before dynastic Egypt, long before recorded history. So how did they calculate it? No telescopes, no computers, no modern math, nothing. And then researchers noticed something even stranger. The cycle appears connected to astronomical alignments associated with 2012. The Egyptians calculated this thousands of years ago. Why? What were they tracking? A warning? A cycle? A countdown? And if the calendar really contains ancient astronomical knowledge, then where did that knowledge come from? Because primitive civilizations do not calculate 26,000-year sky cycles. Advanced civilizations do. And suddenly, Egypt does not feel ancient anymore. It feels inherited, like a memory from a lost world. Egypt was the memory of something older. 5 forbidden secrets. 5 impossible mysteries. The Great Pyramid, the Dendera Lights, the Sphinx, the Serapeum, the Cairo calendar. Different places, different discoveries, but somehow they all point to one terrifying conclusion. Egypt was not the beginning of civilization. It was the memory of something far older. A civilization advanced enough to understand engineering, astronomy, mathematics, and maybe even technologies we still do not fully understand today. And the deeper researchers look into Egypt, the clearer one thing becomes. The ancients were not primitive, not even close. So maybe the real question is not who built the pyramids. The real question is, what civilization taught them how? Subscribe to Hidden Archives, because the next video goes even deeper. And trust me, the objects we uncover next are even harder to explain.